So what we've got here is the sweet wort being recirculated out of the mash tun. So very slow trickle from the mash into my pump and then back up and round. And what I'm doing is making sure that the wort runs pretty clear before I think about putting it into the boiler. That is to reduce the amount of sediment and the amount of rubbish and grub that you get in the boiler as much as possible, which will help with the wort clearing. There'll be a clearing later down the line. A few minutes have gone by since I started the recirculation, and it's looking probably about as clear as I can probably get it. You can do this with a jug, drain some of the wort off slowly into a big jug and then gently pour it back over the top, and repeat a fair few times to get it to start running clear. It really does help, so I do recommend it. But the easiest thing to do is pick up a brew pump. Mine came from Keg Kingdom. It was about 80 quid a few years ago and has been running faultlessly ever since through dozens and dozens of brews. Of course, the other advantage of having a brew pump is that when you finish recirculating the initial part of the mash, you can drain it straight into your kettle. As you can see, it's running pretty clear, which I'm quite pleased about. It's a lovely colour. So we shall see how this one turns out. What I'll do is I tend to drain this down a fair amount until it's almost empty. Then I'll turn the pump off. I'll add some of the sparge water. Don't stir it, and then I will recirculate again, and then I will drain it into the boiler, and then I'll repeat until I've got enough wort. I'm after about 35 litres of sweet wort for this boiler, for the brew I'm doing today, because of what I'll lose when the boil off and because of what I lose leaving it in the boiler. That will give me about 25 litres going into my fermenter. Right, so I've added about 8 litres of the strike water, which I've increased to about 80 degrees. As you can see, I've not been very gentle with adding it, so it's caused a little bit more, a little bit cloudier wort to be circulating. So I've just got to wait another couple of minutes to start to put that back in the boiler. If you're quite careful when you're batch sparging, then you don't really need to recirculate, but because I've got the pump, I don't worry too much about it. If I was doing it by hand, I would obviously take a bit more care. Normally I use a fly sparging arm, but unfortunately my second pump is broken, and it's just as easy to do it this way, and you get just as good a result as far as I'm concerned. But the fly sparging is good if you've got two pumps, because you can keep it recirculating and sparging all at the same time, so you just have to keep dipping the tube in and out of the boiler and the mash tun to keep the recirculation, and then draining your wort into the boiler. So that's that. And I've got my first 4 or 5 litres, maybe 6 litres of wort in there. Lovely colour, and I'm looking forward to this one. Okay, so I've got about 30 litres ish in there. Kept it under the 35 just because I think on my last brew I over sparged and got some tannins in. So what I'll do is I'll take the boil down from 90 to 60 minutes, just so I don't end up too far under what I want. But all that's likely to happen is I may end up with something just a little bit stronger than planned, but it's only home brewing, so there's no harm in that. Obviously those that want to go pro, you need to be a bit more precise, but for the time being, this is a one-off brew with a one-off hop blend, so I'm happy. Almost up to temperature, 96.2, so nearly time for the hops to go in. Righty, just over half hour in, and we've got a lovely rolling boil going on. Today I've used a muslin hop sock to put the hops in, rather than my hop spiders, just because really don't really notice too much difference. I haven't got a huge amount of hops, probably about 75 grams going into this one, but they're all quite high alpha acids, so didn't need the extra volume of the hop spiders. Another 10 minutes or so and I'll add the Irish moss, and then 5 minutes after that I'll add the last hop additions, and then 5 minutes after that the boiler will go off and it will all settle for a few minutes. Okay, so we're just at the hour mark and you can see 2 hop bags floating in there. The second one went in with about 15 minutes to spare. Just a few grams of the Pink Boots hop blend, which smells glorious. So we're going to wait just a couple more minutes for everything to sort of settle back down again before I think about draining it out. I am about, what does that say? 10, 15, 20, 25, 25, 26, maybe 28 litres in there. Right here, last bit of the brew for me is going from the boiler out into my pump, down through my plate chiller, and then out into a sterilised fermenter. Beautiful crystal clear Wort, which is lovely. So let's adjust that. And it's coming out, maybe coming out a little bit warm, so let's just turn the flow down, because we don't want it too fast through the counterflow, otherwise it will end up too hot in the fermenter and I won't be able to pitch the yeast straight away. Okay, so I ended up with just under 21 litres in there, so I'll probably get about 19 and a half out, which isn't too bad. It's probably maybe a litre or so less, 2 litres less than I was hoping for, but because I cut the mash short, the sparge short, it's only to be expected. But lovely clear Wort, smells great. Smells great. And it's now gone into the fermentator. It's a bit hot at the moment for me to pitch the yeast. I think where it's warm outside, my water isn't quite as cold as normal, so it can cool off in the cooling plate very quick. So I'll give it a couple of hours in there, 2 or 3 hours in here, and then I'll pitch the yeast a bit tonight.